It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is CarEdge Live for Feisty Friday, February 20th, with your host, me, the feisty one in Ventnor City, and Zach sitting there nice and relaxed in Washington, D.C. How are you today, handsome? What is going on in D.C.? All hell must be breaking loose.
These vehicles are worthless now. Desperation mode activated for the auto industry. Man, do we have some interesting stories to cover today. Before we do, Dad, happy Friday, February 20th to everyone. Today's show is brought to you by CarEdge.com. For those of you, that are like my dad and you've got a little edge, a little feist, you want to get that taken out, you just go to CarEdge. That was bad, man. Anyway, just go to CarEdge.com. We're running a promo right now. $200 off our car buying service, 20% off CarEdge Pro. Lasts for another day or two. Here, as a friendly reminder, y'all, we're in the business of providing you a car buying service. Dealer outreach, negotiation, contacting dealers, comparing real offers, helping you get the best deal. That's what we do back at CarEdge.com. Now, Dad, the big story that I wanted to start with this morning, vehicles that are worthless, well, you know how they become worthless? They end up getting their price cut significantly. And here we go, Dad. Cheaper Tesla Cybertruck arrives while Cyberbeast gets a $15,000 price cut. We've now seen, Dad, and I feel very, very, very bad for those who over the past few years bought new electric vehicles, and in particular, new electric pickup trucks. You have Tesla cutting the Cyberbeast price by $15,000. That means, obviously, those previously sold ones are worth a heck of a lot less than those owners thought. And you had Ford completely get rid of the F-150 Lightning. So unless they're going to become a collector's item, which I think Barrett Jackson might be doing auctions on them in 15, 20, 30 years, these people, Dad, bought vehicles that are going to be quickly becoming worthless because the desperation of the automakers. They realize people aren't buying them. What do you make of this Tesla news, Dad, to slash prices here of the Cyberbeast?
The Cyberbeast, according to those in the know, at the time it was coming out, was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and everybody, and I mean everybody, was going to have one.
Yeah.
And as it has turned out, it has been one of the slowest selling greatest things since sliced bread that has ever been manufactured. The initial excitement for the Cybertruck and the Cyberbeast was unbelievable. And then like the 3,000 people that wanted one got one. Okay. And then this concept that this is going to change pickup trucks forever. It didn't, and it hasn't, and it won't. And it is by cutting the Cyberbeast down to $99,950, that $15,000 price cut. The truth of the matter is, if you can afford $100,000, you can afford $115,000. So I don't know that it's going to spur sales of the Cyberbeast. The fact that they're now going to offer a Cybertruck at under $60,000, will that? I don't know.
Is there a story here, Dad, about these vehicles becoming like depreciation boat anchors? Like that's what it has to be for prior purchasers.
I think you suggested that they'll be showing up at Barrett Jackson in 20 to 30 years. I think it could be next week. I don't think it's going to take all that long for people who have Cybertrucks to say, okay, enough is enough. I don't want it anymore. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it. It was a way for Tesla to admit that perhaps they made a mistake.
Well, what do you think of, because it's not just Tesla, Dad. What about Ford with the F-150 Lightning? If I bought a brand new F-150 Lightning 2 years ago and I'm sitting on that now, I mean, I'm upside down significantly on what I owe on that vehicle versus what it's worth. Those things have depreciated like crazy as well. There are many vehicles that these manufacturers have gotten desperate on, whether it be reducing the MSRPs of them or purely getting rid of them from the market, that are now worthless to a degree. I mean, worth significantly less. Maybe that's the right way to say it. They're not worth less. They're worth significantly less than they originally were.
It seems to me that for the most part, everybody has pretty much played their hand incorrectly when it came to what they hoped would be the popularity of battery electric pickup trucks. If you're in a 4-wheel drive pickup truck and you like to go off-roading and go out into the wilderness,
okay,
you can carry extra cans of gasoline with you. It's hard to carry that generator that's going to recharge an electric vehicle if it runs out of electricity in the middle of nowhere.
For sure, Dad. But many of the people that are buying these things aren't actually even doing that with their full-size pickup trucks.
My point is that it doesn't really serve the purpose it was marketed to serve. So yes, if you want a giant ass off-roader like a Cyber Beast or something like that, and your idea of it going off-road is, well, when you pull it into your driveway, you accidentally touched the lawn, then it's perfect. If your idea is to use it as a 4-wheel drive pickup truck out in the wilderness, it was never going to be perfect. It's not perfect. And the majority of the American population has spoken that at this particular point in time, they're not interested, A, in electric pickup trucks, and B, really in electric vehicles in mass numbers.
So that's what I want to.
That could be different in Europe, but
I want to focus on that, Dad, because the title of today's show are "These Vehicles Are Worthless Now." So I'm going to pull up a list of discontinued electric vehicles, because that's essentially what Tesla started to indicate here. They haven't made the Cyber Beast or Cybertruck discontinued. Far from it. They've just decreased the price of it by $15,000. That could be a leading indicator to what they did on the S and the X, which they did discontinue. There's a laundry list of vehicles that have been paused or discontinued heading into the 2026 model year. Acura with the ZDX.
Yes.
For all of these, Dad, I want you to think, are you the person who bought this at MSRP a year or 2 years ago, what that means for it sitting in your driveway? So Acura ZDX, discontinued. Ford F-150, planned for replacement. All right, but that's been discontinued, the F-150 Lightning. GM with the Bright Drop electric vans, discontinued. Genesis with the electrified G80, discontinued. Nissan with the Ariya, discontinued. The Ram 1500 Rev, they didn't even bring it out. Tesla got rid of the Model S and Model X, and the ID Buzz has been discontinued in the United States. Other vehicles, the Dodge Charger Daytona, the SRT Banshee, the Jeep Gladiator 4xe, Renegade EV, and various other Mercedes EQ models have all been discontinued. And we also have some manufacturers who have gone under as well. Fisker and Lordstown kind of being the most notable names there. Those vehicles, I want to be very clear, are worthless. And the Tesla story today, I think, indicates for many people, we've got a lot of comments in the chat too, those Cybertrucks are worth a heck of a lot less than they previously were.
Yeah, I mean, if you bought one of those vehicles and the bet was that you bought it and that it wasn't going to depreciate as quickly as other vehicles, it was a bad bet on the buyer's part. Ultimately, the vast majority of buyers spoke, and they spoke in terms of not buying these vehicles, and the manufacturers have backtracked. So those who own them are left holding the bag. Yeah, I mean, if you bought a Lightning, the market for a pre-owned Lightning is a lot smaller today, at a lot lower price point today than you would have suspected. We have seen for the last two or 3 years that some of the fastest depreciating vehicles out there were battery electric vehicles. Nothing was depreciating faster, losing more of its original value quicker than than EVs. And this is just going to make that decline, it's going to speed it up even more. So, if you bought a Cybertruck or a Lightning and you've had it for 3 years, and after 3 years, maybe it holds 30% of its value, I guess the good news is it doesn't have much less to lose. It doesn't have that much more it can possibly lose. Um, if I was your broker and I said to you, hey, give me $100,000 a day, I'll show you how to turn that into 30,000 in 3 years. Buy this vehicle, you'd fire me as your broker. You might fire Tesla as your brand of choice. You might fire Ford as your brand of choice. You might applaud Ram for having enough sense to say, we're not even going to build the damn REV anymore, because we realize there's no market for it. Whatever our sunk costs are, there are sunk costs, but we ain't putting any more money into it. So yeah, those people that bought some of these, yeah, they're holding the bag.
Yeah,
They're
Dan,
the ones holding the bag.
I think the alternative headline for today's show is these vehicles are depreciation bargains on the used car market. Like, that's the alternative. Is if you've been waiting around trying to get a Cyber Beast, don't go buy a new one, even with the $15,000 price decrease. The one that was sold a year ago, the owner who's holding on to that thing's upside down. That thing's worth a heck of a lot less because of these decisions on the new ones. So these are the vehicles that are, depreciation champions that you can ultimately get a big discount on.
If you are one of the few people that actually want a battery electric pickup truck, a Ford Lightning, a Cybertruck, whatever it is, if you can buy it at 30% of its original value, well, that's a hell of a deal for you, because all you can possibly lose is the additional 30%. So if you're buying $100,000 pickup truck for 30 grand, the most you can lose is 30 grand. The original owner lost 70. So if you want to experiment with one of these vehicles, pre-owned's the way to go. You're protected because there's only a limited amount of loss left to have. When I used to appraise vehicles, sometimes I'd look at a vehicle and I'd go, my God, it's really a piece of crap. But, if I put $1,500 in it and I'm wrong, what's the worst that I can lose is $1,500.
Yeah.
So if you factor in the worst case scenario that it just absolutely positively collapses onto itself, if you buy one of these for 20, 30 grand, you're even if you only keep it 3 or 4 years, what if you bought it for 20 and you keep it for 4 years, it costs you $5,000 a year. That's pretty cheap.
All right, so that's the alternative headline here, is these vehicles are worthless now. Go get a used car bargain. And to be clear here, Dad, if you go to like New York City, there's Fisker Oceans everywhere. Like every rideshare driver drives a Fisker Ocean. And it's obvious why, because they were dirt cheap to get their hands on when Fisker went out of business.
Yeah.
Is that necessarily what you want to be driving around? And that's a decision for you to make. But if you're looking for a bargain, especially relative to its original MSRP, the indication obviously here from Tesla with a $15,000 price decline is, hey, we overpriced these things. Ford pulling vehicles out of the market, the whole laundry list of discontinued EVs that we went through a moment ago. Go find yourself an Acura ZDX deal. That might not be for everyone. That might not be everyone's cup of tea. But for the person whose it is, that thing is worth a heck of a lot less today than it was when they originally brought it to market. All these vehicles on this list are. And you know what? To a degree, that's good news for those who are interested in these cars.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at the list and you realize that all these manufacturers played their hands poorly. It's just that simple. They went all in when they thought they had a winning hand, and what it turned out to be was a bluff.
The losers here, Dad, are the automakers, obviously, and the unfortunate
folks who bought them.
And the people who leased them, the people who leased them, fine, because they're just gonna turn their lease in at the end of the lease term. But the people that bought these and financed them, that's where things are not good.
Here's the next really interesting thing in regards to this. All the people who did lease these battery electric vehicles, and they're 3-year leases, and those leases are coming due, and the residuals, the value of the vehicles is nowhere near the residual value. what do these leasing companies do with these things? If the residual value was based at 50% depreciation in 3 years, and it turns out it was 75% depreciation in 3 years, it appears to me that the leasing company's on the hook for that 25%. This could get really, really ugly for all those lease, because ain't nobody going to buy out their lease at the end when it's worth 25% less or 50% less than its residual value. You might want to buy your lease out if it's worth 20 to 25% more than the residual, but you're not buying it when it's worth 25 or 30% less than its residual. So what are they going to do with those? Realistically, every one of those should be sold at a yacht lot as boat anchors. I mean, it is. I can't think of a better way to utilize them.
From space, I am not buying out my Ionic lease. Yeah, I mean, what's the incentive to do that? It's obviously worth less than what the leasing company thought it was going to be worth. These leasing companies, Dad, who lease these EVs are going to be holding the bag big time on a bunch of vehicles that they ascribed a certain value to at the beginning of the lease contract that are now, oh man, and look at this. GM Hummer EVs that sold MSRP when they came out at over $200,000 are now under $75,000 at the auction. This class, this subset of vehicles are worthless. They really are, relative to where they had been.
Relative to their original value that was placed on them. And for whatever reason, I actually went to fill up my gas tank the other day. So I had to stop at the gas station for the first time in 6 weeks. And what drove past me as I was driving to the gas station was a Hummer. And I was thinking to myself, A, why do you need anything that big and that heavy? And B, how important is it that every time I've seen a commercial for those things, they're always showing off the fact that it can crab walk. And I keep thinking to myself, I can't remember the last time I was ever in a vehicle and I said to myself, damn, I wish I could go sideways for a minute. It's just, you look at some of this stuff and you think about how they were marketed and how they were sold. And it's like, what kind of bill of goods were people paying and buying? It is almost as if you can convince Americans to fall for any. Well, you can. I think it was a PT
marketing.
Yeah, PT Barnum said that there's a sucker born every minute. I mean, it's when you look at some of this stuff, it is painfully obvious that yeah, it is. And Johnny Dub says, I didn't know CarEdge was the EV haters club. It's not the EV haters club. It's the reality of the situation here in the United States. You can either accept the fact that the vast majority of the American buying public said, we don't want them at any price, or you can believe that it is the way to go. And it very well might be the way to go. And in Europe and in other smaller countries, it seems to have worked out better than it has here. But if I had a place to charge one, maybe I would own one if it was cheap enough. And obviously, if I were to own one, it would be a used one that somebody bit the bullet on, and they took the giant ass loss, not me. I'll be good now.
Hey, man, I get you. I got it. And unfortunately, we're in the business of just reporting the data, what's going on out there. Let's pull this up here, Dad, from Daniel, because it also is a good counterpoint to this. Thank you for this, Daniel. Isn't the market always shifting? Years ago, V8 pickups and SUV values crashed, and all we wanted were fuel economy cars. Shortly later, all wanted big V8s again. You've talked about this ad nauseum. Yeah, speak to your experience in Arizona selling cars and what happened during that time.
That happens every time gas prices go up. Okay? When gas is cheap, people buy big ass pickup trucks and SUVs with the big V8s that get 12 and 14 miles to the gallon. And when gas goes up to $5-6 a gallon, those people suddenly say, well, it's costing me $300 a month just in gas to drive. I want out of it. And they take huge losses to suddenly go into something that is more fuel efficient, rather than just riding out the high prices for the time being. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people would come in with a big pickup truck and take a huge loss to get into something that was more fuel efficient. When I was at the mini store and there was a gas crisis, oh my God! You know, if we couldn't absolutely positively steal the trade because we had no idea what the bottom was going to be for those things, we wouldn't take it in because the likelihood is that whatever value we ascribed to it was higher than ultimately it was going to be. And so yeah, I've lived through these cycles so many times. And then when the people that traded in their big ass trucks for minis, when gas got cheap again, they traded in their minis at a loss for big ass trucks again. It is we as a society are the easiest society to put a ring through our collective nose and just pull us along. You know, we just forget to think sometimes, and we fall prey to all these marketing gimmicks.
I want to show you another comment here, Dad, from Air Toolman. Leased an Alfa Romeo Tonale. My buyout was $42,000. The dealer bought it from Ally for $21,000.
Okay, it sounds like Ally took a hell of a loss.
Boom. This is not an EV, to be clear, but this is a vehicle that's worthless now.
Yes. Well, it was worthless before it was. What? It's not like Alfa Romeo was. It wasn't when their comeback. They've ever been big and really sold in volume. You know, it is an alleged aspirational Italian vehicle. And truth of the matter is, if you want an aspirational Italian vehicle, I believe it would be a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but not an Alfa, in my opinion.
Let's come here for those of you that aspirationally want to get a good deal on your next car. A friendly reminder that today's show is brought to you by CarEdge. We have a promotion running right now, $200 off our car buying service, 20% off CarEdge Pro. Again, for those of you that are unfamiliar, we offer car buying services at CarEdge.com. Dealer outreach, negotiation, contact dealers, compare offers, help you get the best deal. We've helped hundreds of thousands of people over the last 6 years. What a humbling proposition it is to be in the position that we are. So thank you to everyone that supports us. Let's switch gears, Dad. And literally, let's switch gears. Nissan recalls 300.
We're not.
Yeah, exactly. Nissan recalls 318,000 Rogue SUVs with self-destructing throttle bodies. The broken throttle body can keep the Rogue from moving forward or backward. Shocker, that increases the chance of a crash.
Well, it only increases the chance of a crash if it moved forward or backward. But if it doesn't move forward or backward, the likelihood of a crash has been greatly diminished in my mind. If it can't go anywhere, the likelihood of you getting in an accident is pretty remote.
You know what's concerning about this, Dad? Obviously the recall itself, but the fact that it is for 2024 and 2025 model year vehicles. Nissan estimates 100% of the recall population to be affected by the issue.
Yeah, they've already had, I think, 3,100 or 3,300 warranty claims. Yeah, it is a situation where when the vehicle starts up and it goes through some software things at the beginning, that some of the gears within this throttle body can weaken and crack and break, and that's not a good thing. You know, and it's not a good thing for Nissan when they're cash strapped to begin with, and there's 318,781 Rogues that they have to come up with a fix for.
Yeah, last time I checked, Dad, that comes out of their pockets, not the customer, not the dealer. That's from Nissan corporate, correct?
Oh, absolutely. The dealer is going to love it unless the warranty pay on it is much below normal. But yeah, it's going to cost them millions upon millions of dollars to correct all this. So it's unfortunate. That's what happens when you use cheaper and weaker parts.
Yeah, seriously. Well, here's another example, Dad. Let's bring this up from the automotive retired guy. Thanks for the kind contribution, David. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Happy 55 birthday. Congratulations. 55.
Yeah. Happy
That's
birthday to
incredible.
you.
Happy birthday. Love that. On my second Lemon Law repurchase, 2025 Volkswagen ID4 Pro S Plus, no more VW Group vehicles, period. Whoa. I had no clue that David had another buyback of his ID4s. This is like the perfect storm here. The ID4s are the worst selling vehicle in the United States of America right now. EVs are crashing in value compared to everything else. And in this case, definitely some sort of mechanical or vehicle issue causing it to be a lemon law buyback for the second time.
Yeah, he brought it in for service, and the Volkswagen don't even replace parts or anything. We don't really know what the issue is, and if we did know what the issue is, we certainly don't have a fix for that issue yet. So don't be replacing any parts. It's unfortunate, but we have seen, at least in my 40 some years of this, we have seen a decline in the quality of vehicles, in the quality of the parts, in many cases it's software today, because these are nothing but rolling computers, and oftentimes they don't know how to fix it. I don't know how many stop sales I lived through at Mini. I remember we had a new vehicle coming out, and hell, the stop sale came before they even got shipped to the dealer. Okay, they realized after all their extensive testing and after they put them on the boats, that, oh, well, there's a problem here. It is the quality of all the vehicles seems to have gone down dramatically, and I personally believe that a lot of it has to do with the bean counters and all those that are tasked with trying to figure out ways to save $1 here and $1 there. And we have seen so many of the manufacturers, especially the ones that made the big bet on EVs that have gone backwards, that they're all looking to figure out ways to save money. Okay, between having to absorb some of the tariff costs, and how it's impacting their profits, then they figure, okay, well, to help with that, we need to lower our costs. Well, if the quality of the parts that you're buying now is at a lower quality than what you used to, what the hell do you think the quality is going to be when you ask every one of your suppliers to cut their costs? So it would seem to me, moving forward, that it's only going to get worse and not better, because every time you're looking for ways to save, I don't know, billions of dollars, the quality of what you're building and the quality of the parts and the supplies that you're buying are going to go down. Yeah. So it's almost counterintuitive, because we've already proven over the last 20 years that the quality of many of these parts has declined dramatically.
Now let's wrap today's show with a big story that unfortunately, doesn't have that much of an impact on the auto industry, but it's worth mentioning. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down some of the current administration Trump tariffs. Auto duties remain in place. So me and my dad got to do more research on this, get caught up to speed. But I wanted to flag this at the end of today's show. We'll talk about this more on Monday if it does have implications for the auto industry. But the Supreme Court, Dad, making a ruling today, striking down some of Trump tariffs. Auto duties remain in place. So something to see. It's a developing story that we'll keep our eyes on.
Yes, I don't have enough information at this point to comment on it. I'm looking forward to reading as much as I can between now and Monday, so that I can sound quasi-intelligent, which is the way I try to approach life anyway.
So
I want people after they watch these shows to go, my God, he sounds quasi-intelligent.
That man is quasi-intelligent. All right, folks. Well, that's another episode of CarEdge Live. We're back on Monday with more. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, if we can help out, CarEdge.com. Otherwise, everyone enjoy your weekend. Be safe, be merry, be happy, and we'll see you on Monday.
How much snow are you supposed to get in Washington?
Dude, it's unclear yet. Unclear. We'll see. We'll see. There's some things that say we're going to get like 30 inches. There's other stuff that says we're going to get nothing. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they're trying to figure it out here as well. So I can't. I thought winter was over, or at least I was hopeful that winter was over. But we shall see. If on Monday we come to you live at noon from snow-packed Washington D.C. and snow-packed Ventnor City.
We'll see you then. Love you, Dad. Enjoy the weekend.
Yep. Love you too, handsome. Thank you, everybody.